Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is Cash Cannon. We are back for episode 3 of the Learning Kitchen Live, presented by Community Servings, the Boston Celtics, and Point 32 Health. We're here again to create another healthy meal so we can help manage, prevent, and mitigate chronic disease that is preventable through food. So we have some really special guests that I'm excited to introduce. Our first guest is a registered dietitian here at Community Servants. Her name is Rachel Nelson. Let's welcome her. Next to her, we have an incredible chef who's going to be cooking the meal, leading the way. We have Chef, Sasha Coleman, and then last but not least, we have a really special guest from the Boston Celtics. We have a strength and conditioning coach, Isaiah Covington. So welcome. I'm gonna have you kick us off, Chef. What are we making? That pan is hot. Talk us through the ingredients.
We are doing jerk-inspired grilled fish. Today we're going to be using rainbow trout with grilled pineapple and a mixed herb lime salad.
Sounds incredible. So could you walk us through each ingredient really quickly? Everything looks healthy, but I would love for the audience to know what we have going on.
Where does one begin? We have herbs. So over here are fresh herbs, cilantro, parsley, dill, mint. Very bright and vibrant for the summer. Going with a green salad, mixed green, any green of your liking you can choose. We have garlic, some onion, mayo, lime, sliced pineapple, our mixed herbs and spices. So right now it is thyme, cayenne pepper, pimento or allspice, cinnamon, ginger powder, and I believe some garlic powder in here.
Awesome. Fish, is that our protein? Is that what we're using?
Our protein.
Okay. What type of fish?
We have rainbow trout. This recipe I usually do whenever I grill fish. I usually do branzini or branzino, but for whatever reason, this summer has been calling out all the branzinis in the supermarket. So right now we have rainbow trout.
Okay.
Which is also a delicious white, slightly fatty-ish fish.
Okay, sounds incredible. Rachel, quick question for you. So we'll let you go, Chef, if you wanted to begin to prep. I'm going to ask you a quick question, Rachel. So we're using fish. Do you know a ton about fish? Could you talk to us about if it's good for us? I know some people wonder, should we eat fish a lot? Like, is too much fish not a good thing? Talk to us about fish.
Absolutely. So I think off the bat, yes, fish is great for us. In general, in the US, we are not eating enough fish. Fish is a great source of omega-3 fatty acids. It's also going to be a great source of protein. And so that means that it can be really great for heart health as well as just generally a part of a good, healthy diet.
Okay, so fish is good. Seafood in general? Okay, awesome. All right, so I'm glad we're making fish today. Zay, do you like fish?
I love fish.
Okay, great. But first, I want to, thank you for joining us. I don't know if too many people are familiar with your role and what you do. So as I mentioned, he's one of the strength and conditioning coaches for the Boston Celtics. So talk to us a little bit about your role, what you do, what your day looks like.
Thank you. My role at Cash said, I'm one of the strength and conditioning coaches on campus. On campus for the Celtics. That role entails, obviously, like it says, I'm involved with the strength training, the conditioning of all of our athletes. Also play a role in sports science, so that's testing, assessing, build, and then we use all that information to build out a player's program. There are, a couple components of building an athlete. You have the physical part, which is the strength training, conditioning, and then you have the technical, you have the tactical. So we're a small piece of that pie to make sure that the player, is doing what, he needs to do and they're healthy and things like that. Within that role, I work hand in hand with our sports dietitian, to assist and be a resource for our players, whether we're at home or whether, we're on the road. So it's fun. I get to, have my hands in a little bit of different things, to help that player be successful. So.
Who's your favorite player? I'm kidding. Chef, what are we doing now? So you seasoned the fish up a little bit. What was in the seasoning?
So right now, the fish is already clean, filleted, and skilled for us. You can ask your fishmonger to do this for you, or you can do it yourself. I prefer.
Wait. What's a fishmonger?
A fishmonger is somebody who sells you your fish, and they have a good idea of what your fish is. They can walk you through pretty good ideas of how to cook it, where it's been caught, the etymology of the fish, if they choose so. But right now, I'm putting our spice blend of thyme, cayenne, allspice, a little bit of cinnamon, think I'm forgetting some things. Did I say cayenne, cinnamon, allspice, thyme, and I did put a little bit of salt. So I'm just dressing the inside. I sliced some garlic to also put inside. The way this is filleted, it's kind of like curiously like sloppy almost. Branzini is a little tighter usually in the body cavity, but this also works. You can squeeze a lot more things, but it just gets a little crazy, not crazy, but a little sloppy when you try to flip it on the pan. So I'm gonna do my best not to overpack it.
Okay.
But right now, it's just a little bit of the seasoning. So we have a little bit of the spice mixture inside, some garlic, and we're gonna close it. I try to keep 2 separate hands for my fishy hand and my spice hand, and my other hands.
Okay.
So I'm not like touching everything. I remember fish hand. So we're gonna put some onion in here.
Any onion, yellow,
Any
Spanish?
onion.
Okay.
Just to kind of keep moisture, season it up a little bit of flavor. Spanish, yellow, white. Shallots are also cool if you don't like that super oniony flavor.
Yep.
I'm gonna have some lime in here, just for some more citrus flavor.
This is looking real tropical. I
It's
like
very
it.
tropical.
Okay.
It's very summery, very light. I don't like a lot of heavy things in the summer.
Okay. Zay, you shared with me, Isaiah, sorry, I gotta remember to say Isaiah. You shared with me that you no longer have the services of our team chef because we're in the off season. Yes. So you have to be you're starting to cook on your own. So what have you been cooking? Are you going cereal? Are you going grilled cheese? What have you been cooking up for yourself?
That's a good question. So it's been a mix. You know, I had to start small. You know, so I started out with some ramen noodles.
Ooh,
you know, I had to take it back to the roots. You know, but you know, I progressed. You know, I started making breakfast potatoes from scratch. I'm actually cutting them. Yeah, I'm cutting them. What? So breakfast potatoes. I'm making pancakes, not from all the way scratch yet. But I got the box, but with eggs and milk. So it's a little bit of a.
So not just add water.
Not just add water. You know, I'm doing a little bit more. Tacos, you know, simple. You know, you just gotta start small and build up. But you know, I'm actually liking that she's explaining what she's putting in and why. That's something I've been interested in. Like, you know, when people think about ingredients, you know, it may say, you know, 2 cups of eggs, but I've always like thought, you know, okay, 6 cups of eggs, but what do the eggs do? Like, why are the eggs in it? Like, what does it? Like, if I did 1 egg instead of 2 eggs, would that make a difference? You know, so I'm very happy to hear the rest of what she has going on and why she's using those ingredients.
Yep. Okay. So what did you just do there, chef?
So this is mayo. I usually like, if I'm grilling something, especially like fish as a protein, I'll brush it with mayo. It has fat in it. It creates a nice crust and it'll hold on to all of my spices as opposed to like doing oil. And it's just like oozing into my grill or oozing into everything. And these are already kind of gonna excrete their own like oils and juices, but this creates a crust. It seems unconventional and strange, but like, I mean, it's just oil and eggs. Like, people will add this into their like cakes to make it moist. Like, it's that little secret ingredient. It looks strange, but it works.
Okay. So if one doesn't eat mayonnaise, even though it really won't taste like mayonnaise, what are some good substitutes to get that same outcome?
You can use a dry rub. You don't always need to have like a thing on it. You can also use like a veganaise if that's like your version. If you like chickpeas, like the aquafaba water, if you whip it with some oil, it creates like a thick substance. The worst way of explaining it. Yeah, but it's just mainly to create like a crust on this. Like if you were to blacken something like this, same process.
Okay.
So this is where I'm gonna put my herbs on, a little more spice and a little salt. And I use a brush to brush this on.
Got it, okay. It's like a regular old paintbrush.
Yeah, pretty much. Perfect. I use this for everything.
Yeah. Perfect, multi-purpose.
And this is my fish spatula that we're gonna use on our preheated grill.
Okay.
Might turn it up a little bit.
So that looks hot. I don't know if you all can see it, but
hot, baby.
It's scorching.
Yeah.
You want it a little smoky.
I'm wearing a sweater too.
Yeah, I'm sweating. I'm hot. You want it a little smoky because you don't want it to. You want it to like create that crust immediately. Like you want it to like burn it. So I'm only gonna do one side.
Did you oil the pan or?
This has been in my kitchen for a few years. It's pretty seasoned.
Okay.
And we also have the oils and fat from this, so you don't want any more oils or grease building up in there.
How do you know what temperature to use so that you're getting, the blackened crust that you want, but then also cooking the inside?
You gauge that with your heart. So if you see smoke is hot, we just want hot, hot, hot.
Okay.
I've been warming this up like maybe for the last 20 minutes or so. I had it on medium low, and right now I think it's on still medium low. I might actually turn it up a little bit because once we put the fish on there, it's going to drop a little bit.
I like that you have like the herbs in there, the lime, the onion. Rachel, I have a question to you. This inspired a question. So I think there could be some good ways to incorporate healthy ingredients into what we eat. I think this is a great way, kind of just like masking it or putting it in something. What are some other tips and tricks on how to make our meals healthier in general?
So I think the cool thing is that all foods are going to have nutrients in them, but some foods are going to have more nutrients in them. And those types of foods we call nutrient dense. And basically, the less processed a food is, generally, the more nutrient dense they're going to be. Because when you process a food, some of that nutrients is lost. So for example, when you take a whole grain and then you refine it, you're taking away a lot of that fiber, protein, and other micronutrients that are in the grain to begin with. So when we're trying to incorporate a lot of nutrition into our foods, what we're going to want to do is focus on minimally processed foods, and also just having fun with that. So we're using a bunch of different herbs here. Some you might not use all the time, but if you're at the store, picking up like a new vegetable that you haven't tried before, picking up a new fruit, starting a garden, going to the farmer's market, just making it fun.
I love that. This smells incredible. Chef, I feel like a lot of people cook with fish and they overcook it.
Yeah.
Cook it all wrong.
Absolutely.
We need some tips. How do we not overcook our fish or our seafood in general? What are we looking for? Is it a smell? Is it a look?
On average, I think fish cooks around 7 minutes.
Okay.
And then there's that carryover process. Like if you have it on high heat, you can like gauge it maybe like 4 minutes per side, and flip it and then take it off. And it's still gonna have some residual heat cooking from it. So like that's my best thing. I hate when anything's hammered and rubbery. And you can just kind of like look for the colors that you're looking for. Like in here, it's still kind of pink. It's getting there. You can also see like on the inside as well, like around like where it's thicker in the cut. Give it a little more time. Don't have a timer, but in my mind, it's gonna go off at some point. Yeah, like, and it's fish. It's not like it's chicken or anything. Like you don't want to do an hour on fish or anything like that. But in a lot of cultures, we kind of just overcook it and then stew it down, so it brings back its moisture. But for this one, it's like more bright. It's a little more summery, and I kind of like want to keep the freshness of it. So yeah, I guess just don't overcook it.
Don't overcook it.
Use the timer
I
or
like that.
thermometer.
Sometimes it could be so simple.
Yeah, like don't overthink it.
Okay.
Since I have 2 fish, I'm going to start grilling the pineapple for the salad so it can rest a little bit.
Okay.
But
All right.
over here, if that's cool.
Isaiah, I have a question for you. So you're obviously strength and conditioning coach, but talk to us a little bit about the nutrition for the players. Like I know you're not our team dietitian, but I'm sure you kind of your roles overlap a little bit, or you work closely together. So talk to us about the nutrition of the players, how you're involved, what the full plan is for those guys.
Yep. So like I said, we work in conjunction with our sports dietitian and our kitchen staff to create a plan for the athlete depending on what that athlete goals are. So where I come into play is obviously doing strength and conditioning. We're training players if we have a player that wants to gain weight, right? So now, I'm creating a program based on, we may have the player do a DEXA scan, to see, how much total muscle he has, how much total fat he has. From there, we take that information to our sports dietitian, who can then create a meal plan that is designed to fit those needs of him, gaining muscle. So you may say, okay, Isaiah, you're doing this program for him to build mass. At the same time, the first phase of his meal plan may be, eating a lot of dense foods, or he may increase his protein intake, while he's doing that phase of building muscle, so that now we're working in conjunction to create that, that plan. Same thing as a player that we're trying to lose weight as well, so that's good. And then from there, since I'm with the players every day, I can kind of get a sense of, okay, what kind of foods does he like, because that's another thing too. You can make a plan and everything like that, but player one has to follow it. He has to buy in. He has to like the food. That is underrated. When I was in the G League, we didn't have a sports nutritionist or a dietitian, so I did a lot, which was a big learning curve for me because I was able to learn a lot, and I was the one ordering food, and I learned number one. I think my first day I tried to order a bunch of very healthy things, and nobody ate anything. So then I'm like, okay, it has to be healthy, but the guys actually have to like it. So then that's when I really started learning the players. What do you like? I've worked with players who had no restrictions. I work with players who are vegan, who are plant-based, who are gluten-free. So everybody's plan and what everybody has an individualized plan. Wow, oh, that looked good. It stopped me. It caught me off guard. So that's kind of where my relationship with the sports dietitian comes in. We're all, that, like I said earlier, that one small piece of the pie to get an athlete to achieve his goals.
Got it. Love it. Yes, absolutely.
So I think he just made a really good point that if people don't like the foods, they're not going to eat it. And that's really important here at Community Servings because we're basically helping really sick people. And their diet is so important for managing their illnesses. And so what we do here is we do a lot of scratch cooked meals, or everything is scratch cooked. And that really helps increase the likelihood that clients are going to like the meals. And we're also working with them as a dietitian to basically assign them the best meal plan possible for them. So it's the case in sports nutrition and with medically tailored meals that if a client or a player doesn't like the food, they're not going to eat it and it's not going to help them.
Okay, chef, this is looking incredible. That char is on it. That it looks. You could take a picture. It looks incredible.
Artist.
Chef, you guys are artists. Seriously.
Like the trick with this is you want the fish to release itself. You don't want to pry it up. So like you kind of like, I don't know if you saw me playing with it earlier, just testing how far I can grab it without it like ripping.
Yep.
So that's why we want it on high heat, so it just immediately takes all that moisture out and just creates that like quick crust.
Okay. While we wait, why don't you talk to us about your culinary journey, how you got into cooking? And then I want you to, if you don't follow her on Instagram at the very least, your name is Food Stamps and Fine Dining, which I love. So why don't we start there? Talk to us. What does that IG name mean? What inspired it?
Food Stamps and Fine Dining. It was an interesting time because I realized like everybody I've worked with in the industry, like in restaurants, they don't have access to good food. But we work with like some of the highest ingredients, like foie gras, caviar. Like we're touching these things every day, but we can't afford these things. And most of us are on food stamps. Like at one point I was on food stamps during the pandemic. And that's like, there's nothing to shade at it, but the food industry, the kitchen industry is very hard and rough. And it's almost like a thankless career to go through. But it's such two extremes at its best. Like you're creating these beautiful dishes, but you can't afford to eat at the restaurant you're working at. So like that's where that kind of came from. And also it was like goofy, and I like goofy. Yeah.
So talk to us more about your culinary journey, how you got into cooking.
So it's kind of like, I hate to say it, like hereditary almost. My grandfather was a chef. He owned a restaurant in South End. It was Tim's Bar and Grill. My dad was a chef throughout Boston. He worked at like Mistrel's and like fine dining, and he's done like, just dive bar-y stuff. And I kind of like played with the idea for a little bit. I worked with my family in their restaurants. My first job officially getting paid was a food truck, a fried fish food truck.
Okay.
So I have like a thing for fish. Ooh, speaking of fish. It's just kind of like always been there for me. I played with the idea for a little bit, but then I officially went to a culinary program to like give myself like the higher end chops, my Serve Safe, my allergen awareness certifications.
Yep.
And I went to NECAT.
Yep.
Gotta love it. And I just kind of like bounced around, worked at a high-end Italian restaurant in the North End. I've done like catering, I've done private chefing. Recently I've been doing like food styling. I've done like, I call it mercenary cooking. I'm making the kitchen smoky.
Yeah, we are. It's getting hot in here.
So I've been kind of like everywhere. If you can think about it, I've done it.
Okay. So
And-
well versed. A lot of oh wow, that looks beautiful.
Love a good char mark.
Mm.
I'm gonna say our fish is relatively done. Get a little more time on it, but I just breathe all of that in. It's so good.
It's like a barbecue in here.
It's delicious. But I use this all the time at my house. Like even in winter when I want like a barbecue-y vibe. Is that me? Oh God, I broke the kitchen.
Okay?
What exactly is this called?
A griddle, a
Okay.
flat top griddle.
Yep.
You can flip it over and you can make your pancakes on here.
Oh, investment opportunity right there.
Boom. Yeah, I love this bad boy. You can do this on a regular grill. You can do it in a pan. You can do it in the oven. I prefer this. I love grilling.
Yep.
This is my season.
Yep,
Give me
yep.
raw fire.
Okay.
That's me.
I love that.
Low key, like a barbecue queen.
Yep.
Yeah, but this is my baby, my angel.
Love that. Say, I have a question for you. So
Yep.
you mentioned the piece about the food and the players. I want to give everyone a little bit of insight into like the actual players. Like, what are their favorite snacks when you travel? Does our team dietitian travel with us? By the way.
No, so that's the thing. Our team dietitian doesn't. So our team dietitian doesn't travel, which is kind of where I come in.
Okay.
So I kind of manage all of our sports nutrition on the road.
Okay.
You know, so that entails like the pregame snacks, which are honey stinger chews,
What?
honey stinger waffles. Pretty much just like fast acting carbohydrates. You know, to get these guys, to give these guys energy. Before they play or before they have practice. So I manage that. And then as well as our post-game nutrition. So we have players that drink protein, after the game. Yep. Like I said, some guys like whey protein, some guys like soy protein. Yep. Some guys may need creatine in their protein shake. Some guys may want collagen in their shake. So that's the area where I manage. There are some guys that, I would say guys are very superstitious. So some guys eat the same
Give us an example.
Like,
Give us an example.
So, for example, JT loves honey stinger chews.
Okay.
And he eats fruit smoothie, honey stinger chew. I mean, pink lemonade. See, almost messed up. Pink lemonade, honey stinger chews before every single game.
Is this like candy?
Yeah, so pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much, yes.
Dope.
Yep.
I
So,
too am an athlete.
so yeah, that's pretty much where I come in. But that, that all entails, meeting with each guy and finding out what exactly does he like. So whenever a new player comes in, we sit down, talk to him. Hey, if you've been in the league, what is your routine?
Yep.
What do you like before the game? What do you like after the game?
Yep.
What do you usually eat for breakfast, dinner, and different things like that to try to build a profile of what he likes and different things like that. And one thing I'm gonna add too, one thing that is really big too, and I bet you can probably attest to this too as well, is like education is like a really big piece into everything that we do. Mm-hmm. So really teaching the guys like, hey, okay, we would love for all the guys to take, vitamin D and omega-3 fatty acids every day, but let's tell them why. Let's get them to understand why they're doing that. Yep. I had worked with a guy before who didn't like to swallow pills, so I said, okay, well, I'll tell you some foods that have, omega-3 fatty acids or, vitamin D, try to go outside or, try to eat these foods that have these things in there to, try to accommodate with it. So that's like a really, big piece of the education part of it.
Right. Speaking of, I feel like that, and I'm going to kind of do a little 360 with it, but that education piece is important, and it may be important for kids as well. And I know, where this show is about healthy eating and trying to prevent or manage chronic disease that's food related. But I feel like that's also important information for kids, right? For youth, because we want them to start these healthy habits young. So, Rachel, I have a question for you. What are some ways, if we have children, if we work with children, if we're around children, what are some ways we can get them to eat healthy?
So eating healthy in early childhood or just in childhood in general is going to be really important for creating those lifelong behaviors for health. And right now, there are a bunch of different techniques that we can use with our kids, but two really common ones are modeling and repeated exposure. And so basically what that means, modeling is basically this idea that we learn as we watch people. And so that means that if kids see their adults in their lives or their peers even eating healthy foods and having proper portion sizes, they're going to be more inclined or willing to do that too. So that can look like eating meals with your children, recruiting one of their cousins maybe who is a really adventurous eater, place them next to each other at the table so that, you know, little Johnny can see his cousin trying like the green vegetables. And then repeated exposure is this idea that we like what's familiar to us. And for a kid who maybe didn't grow up eating specific foods, if we want them to try the foods, we're going to need to expose them to it a few times. And we know that 3 to 6 times is generally the, you know, if nothing else is going on, that's going to be generally the time frame that we're going to see them be more willing to try it. So it's just going to take more time. But here at Community Servings, I think we do a good job of helping our clients' families do that with their kids, because we send meals to the whole family if they're in our private program, so parents and kids can eat together. And then we're also sending them a variety of really healthy foods each week that the kids can, you know, decide if they want to try it or not, but they're at least exposed.
I love that. I think that's really important. The second fish is looking great, by the way. I have a question about the herbs. So this is a question for me. I use a lot of herbs. I grow herbs, so I use a lot of herbs, but I use them at the end. I typically don't cook them. Is there a difference in flavor if I was just to like garnish a dish with like cilantro and parsley as opposed to actually cooking it
for sure.
within?
Definitely.
What do you recommend?
I mean, it depends on what you're looking for. Like, I'm going to use fresh herbs at the end in our salad. We want like that burst of freshness. We want that burst of like green.
Yep.
I guess is the best way to explain it.
Yep.
But when you cook it in there, it's like a not as bright or vibrant. It's more mellowy.
Okay.
But you still get that little.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Got it. Okay, so we're getting our health right through our food. Today, I have a question for you.
Yep.
Strength and conditioning coach.
Yep.
Us regular people out here, right? Us, we're not playing basketball games every other night. We're not professional athletes, but we want to look good, feel good. Give us some tips on just some general like stretching, workouts. Like what type of routine can I call us muggles? I don't know if you ever watched Harry Potter.
Yeah.
What is like a good routine for muggles to just maintain good fitness?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think, you know, there's a lot of basic things that can be done. One thing is obviously the consistency is like a really big part, but I will say like some things to start. You know, number one, just getting up, even if you can start with just 10 minutes of mobility, yoga, stretching, whatever you want to call that, you know, especially if, you know, for anyone who maybe works at an office job or, you know, sitting down all day, you may be crunched up, you know, you may have tight hips. So if you can wake up and open up your hips every day, open up your shoulders, open up your spine, you know, that can start to improve some posture, you know, on a you know, if you stay consistent with it. And then, you know, even in terms of fitness, you know, so training, you know, I always like to start with 30 minutes a day, you know, if you can, you know, just starting small, staying active, you know, and you can break that up of like 15 minutes of strength training, 15 minutes of cardio, or, you know, 15 minutes of walking on a track, you know, it's up to you, you know, determining on what you do. But I think those are small things. And then, you know, even still, when you come home after sitting down all day, now you wind down, you know, you can wind down maybe with some yoga, you know, you can literally find one on YouTube and just do it at home. So I think those things are like things you can do for free, you know, in your house.
Right.
Obviously, if you go to a gym, then you can go work out. But I think just those small things, even with me, like made a big difference. Like just trying to do more mobility, trying to stay more, you know, active, you know, when I'm hooping.
Ball is life.
Well, inside joke because Zay is not a hooper, but he's working on it. He's working on it.
I've gotten better.
He's one of the players who you don't want to guard you because they're just a little rough.
Exactly.
A little rough, but an athlete through and through, for sure. Chef, talk to us. What did you just do there? What's in the bowl?
I'm making like a quick little vinaigrette for our salad. So it's literally the same limes we use, garlic from the same recipe. My favorite thing is kind of include everything that I use all in one, but like just play with it. So just the zest of one lime, the juice of a lime, a little bit of salt, a little oil.
The sound effects are great because I know what you're saying.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. That's the best way I know how to explain what I'm doing is purely through sound effects. I'm going to turn this off shortly because I know I am smoking out this kitchen. So
No, it's a barbecue in here. Everyone's
thank you so
enjoying
much
it.
for being patient with me.
Of course,
I
no.
appreciate it.
It's looking
Hopefully
incredible.
It's worth it. Yeah.
Anything in particular we're looking for with the pineapple, or it's just
We
nice
want char
grilled
marks. I can't do raw pineapple like most people. The enzyme, you were talking about this earlier, it digests. Science over here. Breaks down a protein in your tongue, so I don't like that burning sensation. So usually I'll cook it, and I just like the taste of grilled pineapple. It also brings out the sweetness.
So
And
there's an enzyme that. Okay. No. So you know what's funny? Quick side story. So I was out to eat with someone. She was eating pineapple, and I said a really funny joke, 'cause that's what I do. And she started laughing, and there was blood all in her mouth.
Oh,
And I think it was because of the pineapple, but I was alarmed. I was like,
oh God.
I was like, this. I was like, wait. So that's probably why. Now it makes sense. I thought she got pricked by something. She did as well, but it was probably that enzyme.
That's
It was
horrific.
disturbing. Yeah, it was.
My
was like,
day
you
is
should go to the
over.
bathroom.
I'm gonna go home. It's over. Check, please.
That's a true story. That's a
I'm
true story.
sorry. That's so bad.
No, she's still alive. She's good now. So. But back to the pineapple.
Ooh, yeah.
Sweetness. I know I just threw you off. She's fine. I promise. So sweetness, char marks,
Smoky.
okay.
It's gonna play on the spice of this because this is pretty spicy. I put cayenne in here instead of Scotch bonnet. Usually, jerk has Scotch bonnet as like that spice level. We're gonna use cayenne. You can find some recipes with cayenne. I did a dry rub for this because I don't know if you're familiar with some jerk rubs that contains like soy sauce, pineapple juice, or orange juice. We don't want a big mess. You can also use pre-made dried spices, and you can also use a wet one, but the wet one also has more sugar in it and more salt, and you can't really control where you're at with salt or sugar, and it's a mess.
Yep.
Using sugar on like heated things, especially your cast iron. But I like to have a lot more control.
Yep.
It's the Virgo in me. If I don't control it, then the world is doomed. So
Heard about people like you.
you have to control everything. But yeah, so we're pretty much done with this one.
Okay.
Like I'm playing with it as it comes up. Like it's not sticking.
Yep. That
I
looks
think we're
perfect.
pretty much there. Pulling it and killing the heat. Sorry guys. Hope nobody has asthma.
Good.
And yeah, this is the doneness of the pineapple doesn't really matter. It's purely up to you.
Any if you don't like pineapple, any other fruit you recommend for this?
I would probably use mango, but I wouldn't grill it.
Okay.
I just grill
Why
it to
not?
kind of like. I like fresh mango. It's
Okay.
purely preference. I'm sure
preference.
you could grill your own, but I mean, like I'm not gonna do it. So I'm gonna let the pineapple rest for a little bit, and I'm gonna start working on my salad.
Okay.
It's basic. Like you don't need to overthink your vegetables sometimes.
But we do. So please talk us through it.
Those the same.
These are different. This is just a generic mixed
Go ahead.
green.
I don't know if anybody heard that.
I was gonna ask, are these the same greens in these bowls?
This is just a mixed green you could get from your grocery, the pre-mix, herb mix, whatever mix you like, and parsley, dill, mint, more
Oh.
I'm gonna wash my hands while you express your point. Pardon me.
Something cool that I don't think a lot of people think about is that herbs are also a leafy green, and so a lot of the the benefits that we get from eating like lettuce will also, we eat them usually in smaller quantities, but these guys are just as healthy as these guys.
Okay. So would you, based on like the potential benefits and vitamins you would get, would you recommend eating like culinary herbs like that, or drinking culinary herbs like drinking herbs like in a tea? Did I get you with that one? No. Okay.
So I think one of the main things that comes to my mind right away is that fresh herbs are going to just like be more expensive. And also, like when you dry an herb, you're losing, some degree of nutrition from it. I'm not sure what happens when you put it into scalding hot water with the tea, but I don't know. That's not to say that there's not nutritional value from, tea and also dried herbs. There definitely is. But fresh herbs, if you can, are gonna be the most, I guess, concentrated. But you can grow them yourself if you want a little bit more price consciousness. But yeah.
I just have a question too for you. So, like, would that same thing apply to eating salad like we're about to, rather than like a green juice?
So the things with juice is that so juice, you take the vegetable or the lettuce, whatever, and you then strain it after you've blended it. And what you're straining out is a lot of the fiber. And so ultimately, sugar is sugar, right? So the sugar that you get, like table sugar and the sugar in fruits, they're going to be very they act very similarly in your body. The difference is the sugar in the soda is not going to doesn't have any barriers to being absorbed into your body like the sugar in a fruit does. So fiber does a lot of work when it comes to helping to regulate your blood sugar. So in a juice, you might be getting a lot of the nutrients, so those vitamins and minerals that are in whatever you're juicing, but you're straining out the fiber, so it might hit your bloodstream faster, which can, it's fine if you're a healthy individual, but if you're managing things like diabetes, that's going to be something that you're going to want to maybe think twice about.
And I think she made a good point too. Just speaking about like just the different things that can be on labels.
Yep.
And that also just one quick thing goes on like the education piece, because pretty sure you've seen it. It may be something that says 0 sugar, but then you look on the back and it has like high fructose corn syrup, or it has, it says fructose instead of regular sugar, or like different other things that is sugar, or right. Exactly. So I just think that also goes back to the education piece of like knowing what that means, and so.
Yeah, that's a good point. I see all the time, like, like vegan brown rice. Like, yeah, duh. But it's just like a marketing thing, right?
Brown rice.
Right. So just being aware of that, I think, is important. So you're plating, chef.
Yep, just making it look a little nice, kind of doing our best. We are doing the best we can with what we got.
It looks good. So far, so good.
So this is our fish.
Wow.
And our salad's going to be super, super simple.
Okay.
I don't like overthinking too much. Just give me my greens. So literally, let's chop first. Let's chop our pineapple first.
Okay. Just want to chop this up.
It's rested a little bit. You can kind of touch it and play with it. It's not scalding hot. It's hot, but we don't want it to be like wilting our greens.
Yep.
There's nothing worse than a warm salad that's not meant to be.
Right.
Not much, but it's fine. Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
Got my mess a little bit.
And this salad looks really healthy, which I like. I feel like sometimes people are like, "Oh, I'm having a salad," but then it's drowned in like blue cheese and ranch, and nothing against, but the salad, maybe it's like a conduit, but I feel like there are better ways and better ingredients to put in a salad, so we're getting maximum nutrition and all those benefits.
Those memes. It's like black people.
I wasn't here when you cut the onions. Is there any way to cut onions without making your eyes water?
So there's like so many tricks that people have that I'm not sure if I really like adhere to them. I just cry.
Okay.
You could wear glasses, chew gum, put your onion in the fridge.
Wear contacts too. I wear contacts. When I wear my contacts, I don't cry. When I have them out, water works.
I don't have glasses or contacts, but it seems like it would work.
Is it a tolerance? Do chefs still? Does it make you?
I don't think so. I think it's more so like how old your onion is. That's what really does it. Like if you have an older onion, like I guess all that sulfur, whatever chemical that's in it, gets in your tear duct. Right now I'm just doing like a rough chop on my pina, more surface area, let it cool down a little bit more.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody wants to just grab from the cutting board and eat a pineapple. That's so okay for me.
I'll take one.
This is my first time ever
Having grilled pineapple.
pineapple?
Oh, can I introduce you to my favorite thing to do? Little lime, little pineapple. Cilantro's cool. Are you guys familiar with like chow chow?
No.
Varieties of like how.
What is chow chow?
grab it. Chow chow is literally like a fruit. Fruit, salt, pepper. Sometimes they use a little spice to it. It's like a little. I like snacks. Right here, hit you right here. We like that.
Mm-hmm. Oof,
It's nice.
it's delicious.
Warm.
Mm-hmm.
It's not eating you.
Right. No, I won't bring it up again.
So for a salad, just pick herbs. I love mint in my salad. Like I love mint. I love fresh herbs. I like a bite thing. Like we look at herbs as just being like a healthy thing, but it's so much flavor.
Yep.
Like my partner, his mom is Trinidadian, and she makes a green sauce like every month, and it's just like blended herbs, and she cooks it in all of her like everything.
Okay, we'll have to get that recipe next.
When
So
she
we ha-
shares it, I'll share it with y'all.
Please. So we got the mint, the parsley, cilantro.
Cilantro, dill.
Is cilantro and coriander the same thing?
Yes,
or is
they
that
are.
a mint? Okay.
Earlier.
It is. Okay.
Coriander is when cilantro has gone to flower. And so I'm not very successful at growing cilantro because it's very like temperamental to like heat changes and like watering. And so, you know, I'll get cilantro for a few days and then it's flowering and then it's coriander.
Okay. Lots of herbs going. It looks delicious. We
Voila.
got some dill,
I'm gonna steal a little bit of that olive oil.
right? Oh, it's kind of heavy.
So strong.
Yep.
So strong.
Here we go.
Thank you. We just want a little bit in our mix, like a light vinaigrette. I prefer the juices of. Thank you. My shame. Please don't look at it.
Say, are you a big salad guy, or how's your personal nutrition? You help a lot of people, a lot of professional athletes. What does your nutrition look like besides the ramen? We're past that. Are we healthier than that on a daily basis?
Yes, way much healthier than that on a daily basis. So I normally like fast in the morning. I just drink like coffee and like water up until like noon, and then I'll eat lunch. So I usually like make lunch like my biggest meal. So I eat a lot, you know, and I try to just have like a balanced plate. So I try to have like, you know, my main source of meal be protein. So I love salmon, love chicken. I love oxtail whenever I can get that. My carbohydrate, I love pasta. Like Italian food's my favorite food.
Okay.
So it's always gonna be some type of pasta or rice. I love sweet potatoes, regular potatoes. So it'd be that, and then I always try to have like a vegetable at lunch too. So I mean, well, a vegetable or a fruit, something to get like some antioxidants and in there, green leafy vegetables. So if I have fruit, then I'll have a salad or like that. So that's normally how I go about it. I didn't really used to like salads, to be honest. I couldn't really find a sauce that I liked. Now
Sauce.
I mean,
No, it's funny.
dressing,
It's so
sorry.
funny to hear it referred to as sauce. But
Yeah,
it's a sauce.
yeah.
It is a sauce. It's
Right.
a sauce.
She looked at me like,
Yeah, it is though. I'm like, oh yeah, sauce.
But I recently fell in love with what is that sauce called? It's like purple. Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
that was a joke.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool. It's purple. As long as it wasn't
Yeah.
pink sauce. What was it? The pink.
I like that. I like Italian.
serious?
Yeah.
Beef sauce?
Yeah. Beef.
was kidding.
Italian. Italian. I mean, no, 1,000.
Oh,
No, Italian. No, I'm sorry, Italian. Italian. And Caesar like has always been like my favorite growing up. Obviously, it's not the healthiest, but I kind of stopped eating that. But so I try to, you know, usually use between those two. But you know, that's kind of how I usually go about it. But yeah, obviously, like traveling and stuff like that on the road during the season has its limits, just because you know, sometimes we fly out of a city like late. You know, post game, I may not eat till like 11 o'clock, or you know, coming back home, I may like sleep in or different things like that. So it's kind of hard to be consistent and eat at the same time and do different things like that every day. But I think nutrition plays a big part, especially as I get older, and you know, we're traveling so much. So like nutrition plays a big part in that too. So trying to make sure I keep like a good source of vitamin C in me, vitamin D, different things like that to, you know, stay healthy.
Fasting in the morning, do.
Good question.
Yeah. So for me, I just like, I don't know. it just made me kind of really feel better. Like when I eat like heavy in the morning, it kind of was making me feel like sluggish. And initially, when I first started the fasting, I was feeling that way. So I'm like, okay, maybe it's just me because I feel sluggish. But as I stay consistent with it, I don't know. I just felt a little bit better doing
Not so
that.
sluggish? I'm going to try it.
So, I kind of read up on it, and, for me, it worked in the coffee. I mean, I'm a coffee drinker, too.
Same.
So that kind of, like, whenever I drink coffee in the morning, it, like, kind of suppresses my hunger anyway, too.
So you're fasting with coffee?
Yeah. So I drink, like, coffee and water.
Okay, okay.
And then I'll eat my meals from, like, 1 to, like, 8 o'clock, and then.
I'm learning so much.
Yep.
Before I ask you to get into that, Chef, and we taste it, Zay, you mentioned that you're traveling and sometimes you can't eat till you and the players can't eat till after 11. Is that because you after the games you have to go to the airport and then you got to wait for your commercial flight with everyone else, or does it look a little different for you?
So it does look a little different. If we have a game and we're like traveling somewhere else or flying back home, if it's a 7 o'clock game, then usually the game is done around 9:30. From like 9:30 to 10:30, you may have guys getting treatment right after the game. If God forbid anything happened, you have guys lifting. You have guys that shower and do. Oh yeah. Yeah.
We did all the running.
So so usually the arena will have food for us, like in a hot box after the game that our team dietitian sets up. So we'll have that. So a lot of times guys will grab and go, or guys who are not lifting may have more time to grab something earlier. If not, there's also food on the plane too. So we fly a charter plane in which we're able to. Our team dietitian also makes the meals for that as well. So sometimes if the game's over at 9:30, everybody's out by 10:30. We get to the plane at 11. So you're eating from 11 to like 11:30, and then you land at home, and you don't get home till 2 o'clock. You wake up and got to repeat again. So that the schedule is kind of so over the place, so it makes it hard to have like a consistent schedule.
Right. But that's why it's so important for you guys for them to be on a healthy diet and to try and sleep, and because of all that travel. But enough about that. Are we ready, Chef?
I think we're ready.
Okay.
I'm hoping we're ready.
Can we taste it? Like,
go for it.
All right.
You're vegan though, right?
Yeah, so I'm gonna stay away from the
Okay.
fish, even though it looks delicious, but
Okay.
the salad and the pineapple, I'm
Have
gonna
more
go
herbs
for
for
it,
you.
and I'll take those home as well. Okay. So we'll grab
Did
some.
I bring it closer?
Yeah,
sure, why not?
please.
Let's see. It's probably a little spicy. It's inspired by jerk. It's a lot of cayenne.
Okay.
We like spice. We like kick.
Thank you.
That's what the cooling nature of the mint and the pineapple is supposed to offset some of that. So the goal is to have like a bite, a little bit of everything.
Okay. So I'm
So-
gonna do 2 out of 3 then.
I can give you some spice on your pineapple. If
Throw
that works
it
for you.
on there. Yeah,
Let's
just
go, let's
yeah.
go. Right, that's
Okay.
proud of you.
All right.
I'm a belly. Salt wouldn't hurt, but that's the point of like not buying pre-made, so you can control your own salt. It's smoky. All done to finish.
I love the blend of the spices too.
Thank you.
It's on the pineapple. It's so good, so good. And that dressing is really nice, like a nice balance of like
They're
sweet
clean.
and acidic. Yeah.
Nice
really good.
summery meal. This is what I live for. The grill.
That's good.
I love it.
I like that.
You like it?
Yeah.
Are you gonna try and make it? Now that
I should. Wow.
It's easy.
Make sure your ventilation.
Yeah, make sure
Yeah.
that's on. Right. Or do it outside.
Yep.
Outside.
Ooh, on the grill.
Outside. Mm-hmm.
You have to worry on the grill with like the slats. Like that's solid.
Yeah. So there's tricks you can do. Usually you can buy like the fish slat itself, or you can use like a sheet tray, the ones that like are made for like super high heat, and just put it on your grill. It's fine.
awesome.
But make
Well,
sure it's hot.
this was a hit. Thank you so much, Chef. We appreciate you. Rachel, we appreciate your insight. Zay, all the tips and tricks and stories, and we had a great time. So thank you all for tuning in. This was episode 3 of Learning Kitchen Live with the Celtics Takeover. We'll be back for our last episode, episode 4, on Tuesday, June 27th, 5 o'clock, same place. Make sure you tune in. We'll see you all next time. Thank you.
Woo-hoo.